Welcome to Tailor Made Chaos. On this podcast, we'll bring you some of the highest flyers and most interesting people in and around the fitness industry. We'll talk and laugh with CEOs, franchisee groups, exercise specialists, and to those who work in sales and marketing, and we'll share their insights and knowledge of all things related to the business of fitness. Love what you hear? Make sure you like and subscribe to keep up to date. On with today's show, proudly brought to you in conjunction with Fit Into Shape, a small but dedicated team of fitness industry professionals, delivering on all of your fitness equipment and gym design needs.
In this episode, I don't think the man I'm here with needs any introduction. A true icon of bodybuilding in Australia and, for that matter, globally. Tony Doherty, a man I'm fortunate to call friend. Thanks for making yourself available.
No problem, mate. It was a pleasure when you asked me. Why not?
Mate, I know you get a lot of requests for this, and I'm
do
probably not your biggest audience, so I really do appreciate it.
That's all
right. So, Tony, I've got to say I am really excited about today and to talk about the gym, what's going on in your life, what's happening in bodybuilding and beyond that. But for those people who have lived under a rock and don't know who you are, who is Tony Doherty?
Just a regular dude, man. Just country boy that moved to the big city about 30 years ago with a dream and a no off switch, and just an attitude of don't quit no matter what. Just think big and go for it, and if it happens, it's kind of a bonus. So I've had a pretty good run. The Doherty's gym here in Melbourne's been running 30 years this year, which I think is huge in this industry because I've seen a lot of people come and go, and I started with absolutely nothing. I mean, nothing. I think you've all heard the story, I'll tell it if you want, but I slept on the floor for the first year of the gym just to keep the doors open. I've ran bodybuilding shows all that time. I started a FitX Expo in 2011, I think. Yeah. Which then became the Arnold Sports Festival, the Arnold Classic. So I became partners with my idol, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I was lucky enough to tour the world with him from 2014 to 2020 when everything shut down. I got to be his media person and his interviewer and run his press conferences and stuff in every continent. So I was traveling with him 6 times a year, plus the Olympia, plus I go over to FIBO in Germany. So I had 6 or 8 big international events a year. And then this disease came out and we had a pandemic and it kind of changed everything. So I had to once again reinvent myself and lean back into the gym world and then to really embrace amateur bodybuilding because it was the end of the expos as we knew them. And I've managed to take Australian bodybuilding to a level that we've never ever seen before. And that's been my passion and drive since we were unlocked and unleashed. Yeah. And I spend a lot more time in the gym these days. Just enjoy it, man. I always stop and think I'm the luckiest guy alive because there's never a day I haven't looked forward to going to work. Whether it's traveling with Arnold or hosting events or hanging out in the gym or fixing things. I'm really, really fortunate. I don't think you're gifted luck. I think you create luck, and I've just stuck at it until it came good.
Yeah. Well, mate, I'd love to go probably where we haven't gone a lot with you, and it's really right back to the beginning.
I should say before that too, I'm also the father of 4 kids, single dad, 4 kids. We're very, very close. 2 of them live with me full time, and that keeps me pretty busy as well.
Yeah. Well, the parenting thing, I guess we'll cover. Mate, let's go right back to the beginning. You said you're a country kid. Where'd you grow up?
Bendigo, country Victoria.
Yep.
Just kind of regular kid.
Brothers, sisters?
2 sisters, 1 brother. There was 3 of us. My younger sister was born when I was like, maybe I was 11 or 12 or whatever. So, okay. She was sort of a latecomer. So it was always the 3 of us. Just, country family, went to a Catholic school, not a religious family.
That actually explains a few things I've come to understand now. That's good to hear.
Well, I went to, primary school was just a regular primary school, but the secondary school was all boys. Okay. It was a Marist Brothers school. And I guess, I was a really nice kid through primary school, went into secondary school, and I kind of always knew it was a little different, and I wanted more than this sort of, get a job in this country town. And
yep.
I think it was I don't know if I've told this story before, but my nan On my mum's side, I was very, very close with her because Dad was always away working, you know.
What was he doing?
We started off working for, like, it was called Telecom, I think. PMG it was, which became Telecom, which became Telstra. And he was a linesman. And he never got a chance to go to uni or to, get a great education, but he was a super smart guy.
Yep.
So he got an opportunity to sell insurance, so become a door-to-door salesman.
Right.
And he'd leave Monday morning, come back sometimes Thursday or Friday. He'd go to every country town through country Victoria up into southern New South Wales and door knock and get doors slammed in his face all day, every day. And it taught me a lot about how to handle sales and how to handle rejection, how to just get up and go again and go again. He used to always say 10, 3, 1. You know, you knock on 10 doors, you get 3 kind of maybes, you make 1 sale.
Yeah.
And he's been a huge influence in me. Having said that, I'll tell you a little bit about that because I really went off the rails. I guess sometime around year 8 or year 9, I want to be more of a tough guy. You know, I can see, you know, in an all-boys school, you're a tough guy or you got beat up and picked on. I'm like, fuck that.
I'll be the tough guy.
And, you know, I sort of had a fascination with that kind of life. And I just wanted to get out of there, you know. And I remember I didn't really like, it wasn't I didn't like school, I didn't like school teachers.
Yep.
And I was a really smart kid. Academically, I was good, but didn't really study, just memorised everything they'd write on the board. But there was no, back then, you know, when I reflect on it, there was no identifying a kid that had kind of different talent or different kind of smarts. It was just everyone's together. So if I'd work it out in 5 minutes ago, well, just wait for everyone else to work it out. I'm like, what can I do now?
Yeah.
You know, and that led to distraction, and I distracted the other kids. It got to the point where they didn't want me and I didn't want them. But I remember the careers, we had a class called careers, and they'd be like, what do you want to do? I'm not this. You know, and we can work in a bank, you can be an accountant, you can be a school teacher, you can go to university. And I'm like, honestly, I don't think it's for me. I want to work for myself and just hustle and do stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're like, no, just let go of that and don't dream big, just be normal. You know, it was one of those mentality, I guess, country town,
The naysayers,
very
early in the
Catholic
piece.
and Anglo, and, you know, it was just kind of, not even naysayers, they just didn't know any different. That's all they think. And I remember saying to them, I'm not buying the dream you're selling. And so I give it to the others. And I went to my dad. And my dad was, he goes, just stick it out, you know, get something behind you, just get a qualification or something to fall back on because, you know. And I went back to my nan. I remember she pulled me aside when I was I remember really early on, but then I was about 9 or 10. And she said, listen, young man, she said, you're wild. She said, but you also got the gift of the gab. She goes, you have got something that I've never seen in anyone. And she goes, you can be the Prime Minister of the country if you chose to be. There's nothing you can't achieve. She said, so don't listen to your parents. And I'm sorry for saying, don't listen to your parents. Don't listen to your teachers. She said, you go after it. She goes, you make me a dying promise. You go for it. Don't let them talk you out of it. You've got something. You have to use it.
Don't
it's a
have
gift.
an ordinary life.
I'm like, wow. Someone, she was the only person. And, you know, and went through a lot of shit. You know, for
So
a long time after that.
Really?
My first kind of mentor the first person that recognised that I had something that could be great was her. And everyone else, oh, calm down, you know, come on, Jeff. go to uni anyway. So when I was here's a light bulb moment. So I was about 14, I think, and I was watching TV with Dad. And Arnold Schwarzenegger was on TV promoting his book called The Education of a Bodybuilder. So I guess it was like 1978 or 9.
Yep.
Because I was born in 64. So just turned 62 weeks ago. So, fuck, it sounds old, but it doesn't feel it. Anyway, Arnold's on TV and I'm, what the hell? And I said, hey, Dad, what's this guy? And he goes, he's a bodybuilder. And there's big veins in his arms. I go, what's that things in his arm? He goes, there's veins. I go, can everyone look like that? And he goes, well, I guess so. He goes, you know, probably you're a bit tubby. Maybe you want to just like, you know, eat a bit less and go and find a gym or something. Chase it. He goes, but
15,
14, not even 14. I think my 14th birthday was coming. It was something like that. And then they're like, "What do you want for Christmas?" I go, "That book," because he was pimping this book.
Yep.
And I go, I want to meet this guy one day, you know. And this seed was planted. Anyway, I got this book, The Education of a Bodybuilder. I read it. I've still got my original Pumping Iron book from 40, 50 years ago. That one, I read it that many times it fell to pieces.
Yeah.
And I want to be like this guy. So I remember just saying, look, I want to be a bodybuilder, a gym owner, and a promoter. That's it. That's my life. And I went to Dad and I told him, he goes, look, you know, I've saved, I've worked hard, I've gone without, so you 4 kids can, get an education, go to uni. I go, you know what? You got 3 other kids. Take my bit and give it to them because I ain't going. I'll let you down. I go, I shouldn't even finish school. This is like year 9 or something. He said, just try. So I was stuck through year 10. By then, I'm out of control. I'm so disruptive. I'm 15. So when I was 15, I went out with my mates. We got blind drunk and fought. We just go and just punch on and want to be tough guys. Right? Country way, just go out and get pissed and punch on with another gang, I'm like, this can't end well, but, you want me to stay here, I'll stay here. So I think I got through year 10, the start of year 11, it was like, I'll just do all the dumb subjects. If you want me to do it, it was kind of like, really meant a lot to my dad, and it kind of broke his heart. I'm like, Dad, he goes, but I've gone without, I never had this opportunity. You can move down to Melbourne, we'll get a flat, we'll get you a second-hand car, whatever. I go, honestly, I don't want pocket money. I don't want anything from anyone ever again. Yep. Give it to the other kids. Just put whatever you're going to give me. I said, I don't even want anything. I don't want to be in your will. I just want to, I need to survive on my terms. And he didn't get it. Yeah. And we kind of fought for a while. And so it's probably a story I'm telling. This is halfway through year 11 or something. It was just, I'd get called to the principal's office every day. There was corporal punishment then, so I got hit with a stick every fucking day. Like, it become funny because, it'd be like, the end of assembly, everyone would be like, Taylor, Davis, Stewart, O'Reilly, and then you go, and Doherty. And every day, so I have to go up, what have you done? I go, you made the teacher cry. And I did, I was cruel. Yeah. I hated them that much, I didn't want to be there. So I'd work on basically disrupting the class. It was always good with psychology. So what's his teacher's weak point? I'm going to prey on them, And I look back and go, what a prick. But I didn't want to be there. Yeah. You're going to force me to be here.
But they were skills you learned, obviously, at a young age, those skills of psychology.
Absolutely. And I'd read everything on the board. I've always had a great memory. So I'd just memorise because they'd write shit on the board and you'd copy it down. I wouldn't copy it down. Yeah. Then I'd get through the exams quite well. Yep. It's always good with maths and stuff, and could always add up in my head, and just little things. And my grandmother was actually the one who taught me. She was an English teacher, so I could read and write before I went to school. I was, and she taught me my vocabulary and how to speak correctly. And she was very, very poor and married to an alcoholic miner. But she always had this beautiful dignity and a beautiful vocabulary, which I always knew I was going to do public speaking. So looking back, she taught me a lot of the cadence of speech and all that sort of thing. So I didn't need school. I'm like, I feel I'm good. Yeah. So anyway, after long story short, I just left school. I'm like, listen, I'm going to go work. I'm not ready to do this gym thing, whatever. I've got to go work. Yep. Just make a buck. I just want to make money. And I always had part-time jobs. From when I was, 13, I'd always go work in the supermarket for school. I'd clean butcher shops. I did a paper run. I always had money. Always just like, no, I don't want to put my hand out for pocket money and then I've got to do chores. I'll do chores for nothing to help mum and dad. I love making my mum happy. I love to help my dad with his projects. And he was always paving or bricking or digging out a pool. He'd do everything by hand and taught me heaps, So it was kind of, that was my childhood. It was kind of, I wasn't upset or turned upside down by anyone but myself. I'm like, I need to turn this upside down. So I left town when I was still, must have just turned 17, maybe even younger. Yep. And I went to Mildura and worked on a grape farm. Okay. I did a big season picking grapes, and I realised
some hard work in that.
Hard work, and I'm like, you know what? They count how many baskets you pick. And if you're not on all day, you don't make money. But the guys that pick the baskets up and put them on the cart behind the tractor, they just run all day in the sun and they get an hourly rate. I go, can I do that? Yeah. And I was a strong kid, and I'd started a gym. So, so go back a step. Before I left school, when I turned Arnold on TV, I did go and join a gym immediately. Yep. It was the first thing I did, and I've never stopped. It found me, and I found it, and became my life and my passion. And in a way, I was really, really lucky, because a lot of people I know now that I try and help them, they don't know what they want or what they want to be or what they want to do. And I hate the education system still. I don't even go to the parent-teacher meetings because I can't cop them. There's what a lot of shit. And then to ask kids at 16, 17, 18, what do you want to do for the rest of your life? Choose a course and do that. I think I want to be an accountant. No, I don't want to be a fucking accountant. But off they go for 2-3 years, build this huge debt, and then go, it's not for me. I just knew that. I'm like, you know what? It's just a waste. So where was I? So, I joined the gym and I knew that's what I wanted to do and I'd find a way to do it.
Yep.
But in the meantime, I thought, well, I'm just going to travel for a while and just kind of sort my head out because I was wild, I'm getting in trouble with the cops and, out of control, really. And my family were really nice people, and, shit had happened around town and Dad had seen it in the paper and he'd be like, is that you? Or I'd just come in, blind drunk and covered in blood and, it wasn't fair on them. Where, listen, I've got to get out of here. So off I went. So I went in the grape farms for a few months. Then when my mate had heard that you could make really good money unskilled on the prawn trawlers in Cairns.
Okay.
So I remember we bought this old Holden for $300 in Adelaide and we didn't have licenses or money or anything. We had just a couple $100 because we'd pick the grapes, make the money and go to the, what was the pub in Mildura? Everyone used to go on a Friday night. Anyway, it was right on the river and it'd just
Probably
be like...
best we don't do that.
Well, it's just all backpackers and like people that pick grapes, seasonal workers, you'd say, young people, just all over the riverbanks, just flying, rolling around. So you'd work hard, but you ended up blowing all your money. So I drove this car from Adelaide to Cairns, which is, I think, the longest road trip you can do in Australia, through the cane fields and tropical storms, and then with bald tyres and all the with the wiper blazing, let it die. Anyway, we made it with no money. And we pitched a tent in the local caravan park and went down to the wharves every day to try and get work on these prawn trawlers.
Yep.
I just kept annoying them. And one day, this guy, I saw someone stomping off the wharf and I said to this skipper, any work? He goes, well, you asked me yesterday and we had no work. He goes, but that prick that just walked off, he just quit. You can have his job. We're leaving 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. I'm in. So I went out.
So early lessons in persistence.
So I was went out to the open ocean right up through Cape York to we would see the shores of Papua New Guinea and down the other side. It's all around there. Working all night every night. So you start 4 PM and go through till daylight, and you'd get like when the nets were down, you get like a 1 hour. You'd alternate, take turns getting a 1 hour rest. But you're in the front of a boat next to a diesel engine, just going bang, bang. To this day, I can't stand the smell of diesel. But so I did that. I think the first time was like 6 weeks. And I think back now to my point, because my daughter who's 17, there's no mobile phones. Yeah. Mum probably thinks I'm dead. So I get back and call collect, be like, hey, Mum, I'm alive. She said, oh, can you accept the charges? Tony, my little one. I said, all right, So I did that for a few months, and I worked on a main roads department and did all sorts of manual shit, Then I headed back when I was 18, I guess. I was going overseas on my own at that stage. I'd go into Asia for months, 2-3 months, until I ran out of money.
Yep.
17 years old, So I did a lot of crazy shit before I was 18.
Kind of a gap year, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah, a gap year, but a little premature. I was 17. Anyway. But I did get my car and motorcycle license when I was in North Queensland, and came back. All my mates are on L plates, and I've got the open motorcycle license, all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to get a job in the local gym that I joined. It was called Plaza Fitness. So. And
where was that?
In Bendigo, back in Bendigo. So I went back there. Moved in with Mum and Dad for about a minute. So then I moved in again. Just moved in with my sister for a minute. Then stayed with my mates. We just get rent a flat or a house. We used to call this house the House of Fun. It was just parties every night and drinking and smoking weed and just out of control country kids. So anyway, so I went to this gym. I said, "How about can I get a job?" He goes, "Well, you got to get yourself in shape." So I was, wasn't in great shape. I was a big lump of a kid, I was 100 kilos when I was 15, I think. So I got myself in pretty good shape. I diet down, maybe do a bodybuilding contest. And then...
so you actually did do a bodybuilding contest?
Oh, yeah, back then,
age?
But I think first one was probably 18. So anyway, I kept trying to get a job in this gym. So I got myself in shape and he said, you've got to get qualified. There was no course. There was one course called the Fitness Leaders course run by, you say this memory for names. His name was Dr. Terry Seedsman at Footscray Institute. And I'd have to hitchhike, get the train, borrow a car or whatever, and come down every Tuesday night for like 6 months to get qualified. And we go, dude, I'm qualified now. I'm in shape now. Can I get a job at the gym? Oh, if something comes up. So I said to him, how about this? I said, your toilet's always a mess. Right? Whenever I come in, it's like, obviously, he goes, yeah, the staff are meant to clean them. And I said, oh, how about this? I'll clean them for 3 months for free. I just want to show you how hard I can fucking work. I'm gonna make them. I'll be the best toilet cleaner in the whole world. He goes, you say free. I go, absolutely. But at the end of 3 months, it's good. Can you give me a job? He goes, if something comes up, I'll give you a job. So, man, I went in there, bought domestos and toilet brushes and fucking toothbrushes, little scrapers also. And I took so much pride in it.
Yep.
Where the gap sealer had cracked off, I'd fix that. And the tile would chip off, I'd fix that. And painted a few things. It was like it was my own place. I'm just
best
go all
in the industry.
Yep, that's it. So, and to this day, in fact, I unblocked the toilet this morning, halfway through my workout. But I've always had this thing, you should never, as a leader, ask someone you're not prepared to do yourself. So my staff know there's no limit with me. There's nothing I'd ask them wouldn't do myself, whether it's cleaning up crap or unblocking. And it's good to lead by example, I think, rather than just bark orders. Anyway, I digress.
No,
I worked at this place for a couple of months, and this guy had quit to go set up his own place that was working there. And he goes, all right, well, your job just come up. You can start Monday. He goes, but there's a catch. I go, what? He goes, I don't think I've ever told this one on a podcast. He said, he was doing, I can't remember, it was 10 or 20 aerobic classes a week. And, exercise to music was a really big thing at the time.
Yeah.
And he goes, so you've got to take classes. I go, I'm a bodybuilder, dude. I'm just about to do it. He goes, well, it'll help get you lean. There's your cardio. I'm like, what? And I go, I have no fucking clue. He goes, you said you wanted a job. He goes, this is your one and only offer. I'll give you a full-time job. And this, people here, they complain, I've got to get up early. It was a split shift in the gym in those days. The only way you got a full-time job, you went in and opened up at 5 or 6 or whatever it was. You worked through till about 10 in the morning. Then you come back at, say, 4 and stay till close.
Yep.
And that's how you made up your 8 hours. 4 in the morning, 4 in the afternoon. So in between trainer work. So he goes, Monday morning, you start at 6, you open up, here's the keys, your first class is at 7, I'll be in to watch the desk. What am I going to do? So I literally made a tape of these 10 songs on a cassette tape. And I put down a A3 sheet of paper, and I named every exercise. So it was like, I'll start with forward steps, I'll stand there and do steps, and then side steps, and then back steps, and then I'd combine them, and I'd do the leg lift, and I'd do this ab circuit. And I worked out this whole thing, and I wrote down and named and memorised every single exercise for every single song over this weekend. Rock up Monday morning, it was on a stage. I remember I taped it down in front of me. I'm like, I don't want to be here, but I really want this job, So people say, I get people say, look, I want to work in the gym, but I didn't do the fitness course to be a cleaner. Well, fuck off then.
Yeah.
So I was the opposite. I go, all right, I'll be the best aerobics instructor I can be. Well, at this stage, I was jacked. Right? And I'm like, there goes all that muscle going. But anyway, I leaned into it, got my job, and, a few months later, I had a full-time job in the gym, and I was living the dream. I started running the place for him. I was
So how long did you teach aerobics for?
I don't know. Probably it was, 6 months, 12 months, something like that. It was like the first year in the gym, but, it became less. Because I got smarter and I get other people to do it. But then, still cleaning the toilet, still doing reception, sales. Like I learned every aspect of the business.
Well, it's such a different industry now from what it was. And as you say...
In ways, yeah.
In a lot of ways, I think the industry's changed. Not necessarily for the better. I think that work ethic and that discipline is lost on a lot of people now. But
I don't think it's a now thing. I think you've got it or you haven't. I get the occasional one show up here and they're just maniacs like I was, and the industry hasn't changed. Maybe culturally people are a lot softer and aren't willing to take risks or to work, or they've got my pet hate is a sense of entitlement where I'm too good for this.
Well, you're not going to work here then.
Correct. So then I worked at this gym for a couple of years, and I guess when I was 21, about 21. And the guy said, look, you're pretty much running, I'm here less and less. Do you want to buy a share in it? I'm like, So I went to talk to Dad, and he can see now, at least I'm working in a gym, but he knows I'm doing a lot of dumb shit as well. So on top of this, I wanted to be a bouncer. So I think I started working at a nightclub on the door when I was 18. So I'm doing that on weekends as well.
Okay.
And still fucking heavily drinking, fighting, doing all this. I'm like, well, kind of complements the gym thing, and I'm probably 110 kilos or something. Biggest kid in town,
Yep.
Could go all right. I thought I could fight, but it wasn't that good. But, I had a lot of confidence and still had the gift of the gab. So I'd always be able to talk people into, look, you better leave or it's going to end badly, but I'll get you a taxi. And I never bashed people that were drunk or anything like that. And I saw people who did that made me sick. But
yeah.
So I was a bouncer for years. still working in the gym, still doing that, because I always wanted to get an extra buck. Well, why go pay money? Remember I was at this nightclub when I was like 18, they were blind, they couldn't get me out. And the guy finally gets me, goes, do you want a fucking job? He goes, it's too hard. All right, you come back Monday. Come back and I'll get you a shirt. The next weekend I was working there. Anyway, I digress. So I worked this gym for a couple of years, so I was still pretty out of control socially.
Yeah.
And this guy offered us a share, and I talked to Dad about it. He goes, well, ask me if he wants to sell the whole thing. He goes, I want to give you a shot. So he didn't go to uni or anything. Dad wasn't wealthy. You know, he just saved so we could have a better life. So stupidly, and I love him for it, but I wish he hadn't have at the time. He went and took a mortgage out on his house to help me to buy this gym. He said, "We just do the repayments, and we'll flip it, or something will happen, or you'll make it work." And this is where I fucked up. This is the biggest fuck of my life. So I'm 21 years old. I'm this huge kid in this country town. And I thought I was hitting a bit, and I developed this ego, which I'm probably the most ashamed of anything I've ever had or done was that, because I ran this gym into the ground by being a cockhead, just walking around like strutting around like fucking.
I'm the man.
I'm the man. I'm the bodybuilder. Look at me. And we don't need exercise to music, so I killed that. We don't need this. We don't need that. Which in a small country that was the bread and butter.
Yeah.
But I had this vision to build this kind of, in my mind, like this bodybuilding gym like we are now, but bodybuilding gym that regular people would come to. So I had this vision, but I'm in the wrong place, wrong time. I'm just years ahead of where I should have been. So it got to the stage. Now I'm in my late 20s. It's 27, 28 or something. I've got to get out of here, and drugs were a thing, and heavy drinking, still, out doing nightclubs and getting to work late, just doing dumb shit. I won't go right into it, but not proud of the person I was. I'm like, Mum and Dad are going to lose their house. It was embarrassing because, like, the local stationery place, we had an account, and I was always behind, and Dad's like, I can't go anywhere. People say, oh, your son owes us money. Or this it wasn't big bucks, but it was just I didn't know how to, because I didn't get an education. I was so cocky. I thought I know everything. I should have done a freaking business course, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Anyway, I learnt the hard way, and we had, I guess, and this guy overcharges for the gym. And I remember we gave him half, and then I went and I've never been one to renegotiate, but I went and just said, "Man, you're never going to get the other half, but what I owe you now, I'll pay you straight out." And we're done. So we did that, and I guess I was 28 or something. So I moved down. I just couldn't work out how to get out of there. And then the guy that originally left to get me my job, he'd opened up right across the street. And I heard on the grapevine that his gym was, the building was owned by the Bendigo Bank, which was really growing at the time because it actually started in Bendigo. It's called the Bendigo Building Society, become the Bendigo Bank. I'm like, he's getting booted out. He's going to need new premises. And we didn't speak, me and this guy, because he'd open up across the road, and I, with two gyms in the same fucking street. Yeah. Now, during this time, of me walking around like a dickhead, Fernwood gyms?
Yeah.
Same street, and it's a laneway. They did the first one ever, 60 metres from my front door. So I've got one called Jump, so it's called across the road. Fernwood, 60, 70 metres down the street, and me in this one lane in a town at that stage, there was like 60,000 people. And there was a couple in the outer parts. I'm like, shit. And then they're like, those men, those bodybuilders, they're all creeps and perverts. We'll make a safe place for women to train. And I'm like, what the fuck? It was always safe, wasn't it? But, I was too cocky to recognise it. Like now, I would have been all over that. I would have shut them down. But back then, I was just like, no one's going to go there. Like, they got shit equipment, this and that. I didn't rate them, and I learned a lot from that, because you've got to never underestimate anyone. Yep. But I've been underestimated my whole life because of how I look, and I still love it now when people underestimate me because I know what I've got. But back then I didn't have a fucking clue. So all of a sudden we're losing money hand over foot, and Dad's mortgage is blown out. They're about to lose their house. So I went and grabbed this guy. His name was Barry Johnson. Good guy, good man. He's really into martial arts. And I said, listen, I know you're going to lose the building you're in. I'm going to give you a one-time offer. You can take over my building. Right, you can take over the lease. You can have the thing. I'm not going to charge you anything. All the circuit equipment, because we had the super circuits, was like class. You can keep all that. I just want to take the squat racks and bench presses and dumbbells and broken equipment. It was all just shit equipment. Yeah. I want to get out. I've got to get out of here, man. I'm going to die if I stay. This is eating me alive. The guilt I had from my parents having this debt It's like waking up with a gun in your mouth every day. I'm like, fuck, if I do one wrong thing, one more wrong thing, and I'm still out of control. Yeah. Partying at night and getting to work late. And I'm just fucking, I know I've got to get out of this place. So went to Barry and I said, look, here's the deal. I'm going to give you all that. He goes, why would you give me all that? I said, because I've got all these members that have paid for their memberships. You've got to honour everyone, right? If they've got 12 months left, you've got to honour that. If they've got 6, 3, whatever. Anyone new, that's all yours. But I'm going to give you the business. I'm going to walk away with all that debt. He goes, really? He goes, shit, I'm looking for a new place. I go, look, it's already set up. It's got a permit, sauna, spa, all that kind of stuff. I said, just take it. Shook hands. That was it. So I found this little warehouse just around the corner in 1994. And I come down here with, honestly, a truckload of broken equipment and a big dream. And this is where the ego died. This was the rebirthing of me. Yep. So I come down here, I'm like, well, I'm not a big shot anymore. I'm in this fucking heavy, then Brunswick was a heavy suburb. I hadn't been around wogs and didn't understand even the value of family. They taught me so much about loyalty and about how to speak to people and how not to speak to people. And I couldn't.
So why Brunswick? Just
I don't know. Someone said to me, Brunswick is a good place, and I'm kind of mates had gone to uni. The ones that I was meant to go to uni with, they were all living in Parkville, Brunswick. I just kind of knew Brunswick. It's just off the freeway. I'm like, I didn't like, the Toorak, South Yarra side. Yep. I liked and back then Brunswick was pretty much still a working class suburb, but you see it was evolving. I knew it was going to go. Inner city, this is going to go nuts. It's going to be a really good place. So this little warehouse opened up, honestly, with nothing. I just a whole lot of debt. I think it was $250,000 worth of debt, a bad attitude, broken equipment, and nothing. And I had a bodybuilding show because I always was running the shows in Melbourne, and I remember it was announced. I didn't know what I was going to call them. So I've been to America a number of times by now with my best mate, Sonny Schmidt, who was an Olympia bodybuilder, and travelled, and I got to know all the bodybuilding people internationally, which planted the seed, which I go into for all the Arnold stuff and everything, years later. But I knew what I was doing. So I was building relationships there. And we trained at the famous Gold's Gym when it was the Mecca where you had to go there. So I made the pilgrimage, and I'd go over there for a couple of months at a time. This is when I was still in Bendigo, which just sent the gym further into debt because I'd be over there strutting around like an idiot. But they offered me the Gold's Gym license for all of Australia, and they wanted $30,000 US. And the dollar wasn't bad then, so it might have been 40 grand Australian. I'm like, man, I haven't got 40 fucking dollars. Can we do it? He goes, that's it, that's the deal. But I remember the lessons I learned from a guy who's still there called Rich Minzer, and he was the licensing guy, and he said, look, do you know the Gold's Gym does 10 times more in merchandise than they do in memberships? I'm like, all right. And then my best mate, who was still my best mate, Michael, he said to me, when I was going to move down here and do my gym, I said, I just don't know what to call it because I can't afford this Gold's Gym thing. I go, fuck, I'll just call it Doherty's Gym because I already had a name in the bodybuilding industry. So everyone knew Doherty. It wasn't a big name, but at least I owned it. Yep. So I registered that, and he said, I'll never forget it. He said, don't build a gym or a business, build a brand. He goes, build a fucking brand. Yep. And from that day I clicked and I thought about the Gold's Gym model. I thought, all right, I'm just going to do a model like that. Right? So no cardio, none of this fancy stuff here. Weights, cardio, boxing, cafe, that's it, merch. Straight away I printed up some really badly printed Doherty's Gym t-shirts. In fact, I hand drew them.
Very different to the ones now, which are fantastic.
We hand drew them and so I opened up with 0 members, 0 marketing, 0 money. I mean, I thought, where am I going to live? I go, well, I had 3 things. I had a couch, a rice cooker, and a vertical grill. Remember, they're like a toaster, and you could do steaks and chicken. Grill? Not even Foreman, they were flat. It was a vertical one.
Got it.
Anyway, which I bought at a second-hand thrift store, And honestly, I had nothing else. That's it. I didn't have a bed. I didn't have a tally, nothing. So I thought, well, just work. And this killed my ego. I'm like, right, now, time to wake up to yourself. So I gave up all the dumb shit as much as I could. Stop partying and bouncing and this sort of thing. And opened up with 0 members, 0 money, 0 education, nothing. Just go to the front and make this work. So I developed this thing where I have told this story a few times, but we opened at 6 till 10, or 6 till 9 some nights, but 6 till 10. I'd wake up at 5, I'd have a shower, I'd walk up, it was in Union Street, and I'd walk, it was about 200 metres to Sydney Road. Yep. I'd go get a newspaper and a coffee from newspaper from the newsagent, a coffee from McDonald's, and I'd walk back and there'd be people waiting to get in. I'd be like, good morning, everyone. So it looked like I'd come from
lived
somewhere.
there,
Yeah, you know, because all I had was my dignity now. I don't need to complain. So, oh, poor me, I don't have a house. So I had a bag of clothes, and a duffel bag with my shoes, and garbage bags with my clothes, and I sleep on the couch. So then I do all the hours. So I go from 6 in the morning till 9 or 10 at night till everyone left or whatever. Then I go hide in a car park over the road, wait for them all to leave because they just stand out the front telling stories, and bouncer stories, or slayed all these schools, or punched all these quads, and all the. I'm like, shit, I'm just going to hide and be on a tree and wait. And so I did that for like a year.
Yeah.
And it was the making of me, man. It was just like, I did every job in that place. And when I had no money, I thought, if I'm always active when people, because I'd see people at gyms have their feet up on the table, you know, and cell phones were becoming a thing, or, you know, be watching something on the computer. I'm like, it's so bad if you walk into a gym and someone's just sitting there uninterested. So we couldn't afford treadmills. I mean, we didn't have any cardio. We had like a stationary bike and maybe a second-hand rower or something, but no treadmills or you know, as we know, cardio now.
Yeah.
I built a boxing ring out of normal rope in this vault, and I had all those black and white pictures. One is still there, all up on the walls.
So the time frame for this is early 90s, yeah?
This is 94.
Okay.
94 to 95. Well, I moved here in 98. So 94 to 97, I just built this little thing in this little warehouse. So what I do, I go, well, I can't afford a treadmill, but I can afford a can of paint. So I go get a can of paint, $80, I remember, for 20 litres, and I'd paint a wall. People come and go, what are you painting that for? I go, oh, just try it out. And I'd move all the pictures around. Then the next day I'd move the squat racks from one side to the other, drill all the walls. And every time I do that, someone would come and say, geez, you're always working. And they'd bring friends. And then my best mate, who was in Mr. Olympia, he'd come back from America and we trained together there for 3 Mr. Olympias. People started coming to watch. I'm just going to stick this out. I just need a break, you know.
Yep.
And then a couple of things happened that really sort of to change it. So through bodybuilding, I had a relationship with Max's, which was a supplement company, and they wanted to do a DVD to put on their protein bottles.
Yep.
And they wanted someone to host it, you know, like to show some exercise or something. So we did that, and I'm like, you guys should do a TV show, call it Muscle TV, I'll be the host. And they're like, well, what's it going to cost? And I go, you work out all the filming part of it, I'll do it for free for the first year anyway. And did that, and we ended up doing 8 seasons, ended up on mainstream TV, and this gave me, I always knew I had to create with this brand a lot of credibility for myself, because I was just uneducated, nobody with no money, and I'm up now against gyms with, you know, marketing departments and budget departments. Well, shit, we'll do an ad. I remember the first ad I did in the Yellow Pages, and it was, I'll just write about what we don't have. So I took out this little ad, it was this big, and it said, no cardio, no child bonding, no spa, no sauna, no pool, no BS, just weights. And that was the ad. So I thought, I'll just tell them straight what we don't have, and I'll tell people the price when they ring up. I won't do this whole industry thing. So I started to hate the way the industry was going, and the sales and the con to get people, because a lot of the big ones were starting to, you know, franchise out. It was Vigor and Lifestyle, I think it was called. They're all gone now. But anyway, I'm just going to do me. Right? And I always, to this day, when I'm mentoring and helping people, say, just know what your fucking brand is. Don't change it every week to suit other people. Just know what your brand is. So we just stuck with those 4 things. Boxing, cardio, weights, cafe. Still the same. You know?
So the right formula.
So we just went at that, and it was on TV then. I got the show, and then a job come up at the Carlton Footy Club as a weights coach. And I had a few footballers coming to me on the side, and I'd fixed, there was a guy called Ange Christou, who no one could fix his back, so I fixed his back, and he was playing again. And then he brought Cooter in, who had the best body in footy. So he just had great genetics. I just knew how to teach weights. So together, I made him even better and rehabbed him, did this stuff, and then they all started to come. So this job came up at Carlton. There's a funny story how they said, I recall they said, you've got to send in your resume and your university qualifications and blah, 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 and we'll see if you're up for an interview. I've never had a job interview now. This is, I'm in my late 30s now, you know, it's like, but yeah, we were here, so we've already moved into here. I got ahead of the story a little bit, but I'll tell the story quickly. But I went down on the last day that you could get your application in, and I went to all the players that were, it was just a matter of using this. I go, hang on, what's the psychology of this? Why? Fuck it. So I went to all the players that I'd trained and said, can you write 1 paragraph of how I'm the best weights coach, and I'm really positive, I'm really good for your mental health and mentoring this and this, and that I should be working in the AFL. So I had 2 pages just with 10 testimonials. I just walked into the secretary, go, this is my resume. I didn't go to school, didn't finish school, didn't go to university, but I think I should get an interview. She goes, oh, look, this doesn't really fit. I go, can you get one of the assistant coaches or someone on the panel to come out? Someone come out and just sold myself. I go, bro, you've got to give me an interview. And so they did, and I got through the first interview. Nearly at the end, and Dennis Pagan, who was the coach, he's still one of my best friends and mentors. He trains every day. Come by, and I remember he just put his ear in his listen. He goes, give this guy another interview. He goes, I'll sit down the next one. So I got a second interview. Now, I'm huge. At this stage, I had a shaved head. I'm 114 kilos, covered in veins. I look like a very WWE wrestler bodybuilder because I'd trained for all these Olympics. I look more like a pro bodybuilder then than when I was a kid competing. So I'm like, shit. So I didn't eat for 3 days. I got a polo shirt with stripes going this way. I got some slacks. And I've never been to a job interview, man. I'm 38 or something. So I went in, and we were halfway. The second interview was with Dennis Pagan, and he just looked at everyone and he goes, I like his attitude. He's going to be good for the players, and he's strong, and he knows his weights. He's getting the job. Cancel the other interviews. I said, well, we can't cancel the other interviews. He goes, I'm not attending any others. He's my weights coach. And so we were there for 5 years. Part-time, but 3 days a week. I got to run out in the MCG with the players, and I always wanted to do that. So I come up with this thing where they had to run into a tackle bag to warm them up and get them ready to get hit.
Yep.
Well, we're better off to do that in the ground. Next thing, I'm running out in the MCG, and Etihad Stadium and all this sort of thing. So I'm living my dream, man. And at this stage, I'm doing all the interviews at the Olympias, and I'm traveling. It's all coming together. So go back to 97, 98. We'd outgrown this warehouse. I'd stuck it out. I'm now renting a little shitty house across the road. I'm not sleeping on the floor. I've got a couple of part-time staff doing personal training. But that 4 years, trying to keep the doors open when I did sleep on the floor, I was working for debt collectors. I was going out at night, hustling, doing whatever I could.
Whatever needed to be done.
Whatever needed to be done to pay the rent. And the power, I remember, got cut off 3 or 4 times the first year.
Yeah.
And members would come in and go, oh, someone must have hit a power pole or something. The phone would get cut off because no one was really into cell phones like now.
Yeah.
You had to have a landline, and we'd almost get evicted every month until I made it work. And that's when I lost the ego, did all the hours, just just love this industry. I'm like, I got my shot. And I started to pay back the debt on mum and dad's house till I got that untangled. It took years. It took another 15 years.
Yep.
So then at the end of 97, I was, shit, we're outgrowing this building. We need somewhere else. I remember I had a push bike just for a bit of exercise. I rode down here one day because we'd come to Coles over the road. Oh, shit. That Coles was the first 24-hour Coles in Australia.
Yep.
There's no 24-hour gyms. And this building was empty. They all come out of that driveway and look straight at this gym. I go, 24-hour gym. There'd been one, but they'd stopped being 24 hours. There'd been one in Sydney, there'd been one in Melbourne, which was the Underworld gym, which I ended up buying for our third Doherty's gym. But anyway, at that stage, there's no 24-hour gyms in Australia. I'm like, I want to go talk to the dudes at Coles. So I went in, I said, talk to the manager. And, so how's this 24 hours thing work? He goes, well, we never turn the lights off. He goes, because at night time when there's no customers, we fill the shelves. So we figured if we had one girl on the desk, because what's happened, all of our customers go to the 7-Eleven up the road. So we figured, we went to head office and said, can we try this 24-hour supermarket thing? And they become the first 24-hour Coles. And they said, we just have one girl on the desk and we still stack the shelves, the lights are on, doesn't cost us any more. And all these people on night shift come and get their groceries. I'm like, shit, I might do a 24-hour gym and have it staffed all the time.
Yep.
So April 1998, we worked like hell. We had no money because we were going to move into this big, way bigger building. So I only took half of it. I rented the back half out to a welder, and we just made do with little equipment we had. And you can look at the pictures on the front window, put before and afters from when we moved in here. And it's like I can't remember the brand of treadmill. It was like a little bit better than home ones. We had like 3 or 4 of them, 2 rowers, and still the same broken equipment I had, and a few pieces I'd picked up along the way, but it was nothing. Same pictures, same theory. I just move shit around, just start to slowly fill it out with more equipment and stuff. So I come and open the door. I'd had all my staff help me. We bought all the rubber mats, which are still here around on trailers. We did it all ourselves, the whole fit out in about 2 weeks.
Yep.
And I remember we did this thing where I said to the members, if you join renew for a year, we're going to do one, because we never did special, I've never discounted, but this one time, we're going to do our original price. And if you guys can join in advance, it'll help us. And I remember we raised 14 grand, right? Yeah. We raised for the whole move.
Yep.
So I paid 1 month bond and 1 month in advance rent. I had nothing left. Nothing. So here we go again. Now I'm broke again. Just starting to get on my feet. Still not getting wages. Still hustling. Still doing whatever it took to get the doors open. So we opened here. I remember coming here in the morning, and one of the staff that had been there late night left a ribbon on the door for me, so and a pair of scissors hangers. So I cut the ribbon, but no one showed up. So it's me. I'm like, I'd just like to declare Doherty's Gym officially open at 45 to 49 Western Street, and we're never, ever going to shut the doors. And I threw the keys away. Had a ceremony.
That was the opening ceremony.
That was it, just me. And I come in, start doing long days again, and sometimes we get called in to do night shift. And we were staffed and open every single hour from then until the pandemic forced us to shut.
Yeah, so over 20 years.
Yeah, yep. And then when we were able to open again. But I've always been staffed. I've always been really big on that. A couple of things about the industry I don't like, and one of them is these unmanned 24-hour gyms, because you've got a duty of care. And if someone gets attacked, you can't get unattacked. Or if a woman gets dragged into the thing, you can't get unraked. No. Or you can't get unviolated or unabused. You know what I mean?
Camera doesn't change that.
The camera don't change that. And if you've got someone in a thing, in charge of 20 different gyms, you've got, frames, someone gets out, gets into his Hyundai or calls the cops and gets across town, maybe someone's jammed the door shut anyway, or they've ran.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, just no. What if someone has a heart attack or someone drops a dumbbell on their head? Like, apart from bad stuff people do to each other, people can be reckless. I'm reckless, like that. As far as injuries go, and so we've always been staffed. Every minute we're open, and our gyms that aren't 24 hours, like Perth and Dandenong, for example, they've got to be staffed the hours they're open. There's no one got a fob key to come in at night. Fuck that. Yeah. So that's always been our mantra. Yeah.
So Tony,
goes that back far enough? I've talked a lot, but that's
it's
that's
been
the
fantastic.
Whole story in order.
Yeah, and look, we'll obviously cover off on some of the stuff that you're more known for fairly soon with Arnold and some of the history that goes in there. But some of the things I actually wanted to talk about, and I think the thing that I love that I think you're famous for is some of the charitable stuff you do. Christmas Day. I'd like you to talk to me how that sort of started, that tradition for Christmas Day that, you like to cook.
Going back, all right. So going back, a lot of gyms had shut from Christmas to New Year back in the day, and all their members had come out. And that's pretty cool. But then everyone got these passcodes, and I always thought, if you're going to shut, people would go, why would you bother opening Christmas Day? Like, if you're going to shut, why don't you shut? It's because we don't shut. That's our policy. I said, but if you're going to be open one day of the year, it should be Christmas Day. I've always said this mantra, because if you don't have a family or friends, or you're working away from home, or you've split up with your wife, or you've just lost someone you love, whatever, it's the loneliest day in the world. There's all these happy people doing all these happy things, and in your gym shut, what are you going to do? So they always had that kind of mantra. And then, I don't know what year it was, I'm just like, why don't we do, like, the Lost Cause Christmas? Like, anyone who's got nowhere to go, and you might be, your family's in Queensland, down here working at the casino or the airport or whatever, or you might just have no mates, or you might just be lonely or down on your luck or whatever. So I'm like, we're going to do a Christmas barbecue every Christmas morning, nice and early, free. My mate John from the market, he'd give us a heap of orange juice bottles, and I'd go to Costco, so I'd just buy 20 dozen eggs, and we'd buy 20 loaves of bread and this and that. And I cook. I get on the barbecue, and we have the cold orange juice, and now we have people volunteer and everything. And a lot of the regular members just come down. They get up at Christmas with their kids and the family. I've got to get out of here. So they come down here. And I always knew that a lot of people come train Christmas morning in between all the events.
Yep.
I'm like, well, what about all the, like homeless and down on their luck people? So then we started to advertise it through those channels to say, hey, if you've got nowhere to be on Christmas, come and see us. And then one year we said, don't even get a present. Why don't we get a present? So we got all our old T-shirts out, for example, and a protein shaker, and then went to some of our sponsors and went, come on, let's put together a gift bag. So we'd have like 50 or 100 gift bags, and people would come. And it was probably more popular before the pandemic.
Yeah.
And then since then, it's become more of a bit of a members' day. I think, I don't know the why, but we still do it. And it's a charitable thing, but it's also just a fun way to give back, what? Barbecue.
And look, another one of the things that you do is the charity ride. So I'd love you to talk a little bit about that as well.
Well, we're always into motorcycles, and a group of us always go riding. I'm like, we should do an Australia Day ride. and raise money, for example, for the Children's Hospital or something. We did the Bully Zero, we did the Children's Hospital. That went for about 12, 13 years. Once again, post-pandemic, we never really got it going.
Yeah.
This year we didn't do it at all because it was just getting less. But back in the day, we get like 120 riders, and it was so cool. It'd be all these Harleys, mostly Harleys and choppers and all, lined down both sides of the street. I'd always lead the ride, and get out the front. So, do you let the police know? Do you do that? No. We're not a bikie gang. We're just enthusiasts that are just having a fun day with the boys and raise some money on the side. So we'd always pick a country town. We went a different one for 12, 13 years. We went a different route every time. So we'd just ring a country pub and say, look, we're going to be there about 12 o'clock. How many? 100. They want to have a few drinks and have a counter meal. Pub would be like, hell yeah, that's good.
That's Christmas for them.
So we'd stop. It was always Australia Day. So we'd stop. We'd go for like an hour, stop, just walk into some pub unannounced, just everyone have one beer, and then we'd go to the one that we'd booked. And then the families could always come and meet us there. So a lot of the wives and kids would come and meet us at that pub and become like a family day. And then we'd just pick some crazy country way home, get on the gas and head home and all meet back here.
Yeah.
And everyone would go their own way. It become huge, but then it just, the pandemic changed a lot of things for people. But that was another fun thing we did, yeah.
Yeah. So, mate, it's been a pretty bold life. And obviously there's been a few of these moments that have kind of exploded. Let's talk about a couple of the obvious ones. Talk to us about how it arose for you to become attached to Arnie, the fitness expos, and how this all sort of...
Okay.
And it's a complex story, but just do the quick version.
We've been going for 50 minutes, so I'll talk as long as you want. But the other thing happened in that I'd been to the Arnold Classic in Columbus, Ohio, and I'm like, I want to MC that one day. Like, wow, that'd be so cool. And I want to meet Arnold. So I remember I paid to get a VIP photo with Arnold. This is like early 90s or something. And I planted a seed in my mind, I'm going to bring this to Australia one day. So I started doing the Australian Pro Bodybuilding in 2001. I always did a week or 2 weeks after the Arnold Classic because all the big guys were in shape.
Yep.
It was a good time of year for us. It was always the second, third weekend of March. And, I could get the guys to come across. I thought, well, slowly, but I'll turn into an expert. So by 2011, I think it was, 2010, we moved to the Melbourne Convention Centre and just did like a nothing expo out in the foyer. Then we went all into this one we called FitX. And I modelled it just like the Arnold Classic. Now, my psychology once again. I knew that he wanted to go global, and he'd taken the Arnold Classic to Madrid in Spain. And I knew he wanted to do every continent. I said, all right, well, I'm going to put myself in a position here where I'm the only fucking choice. So I'm going to build my pro bodybuilding show into an expo, just like the one he does in Columbus. I'll get martial arts involved. I just looked at his model, which was to have a multi-sport festival, to have pro bodybuilding as the jewel in the crown, and do it just like he did. So at the convention centre, I practiced my FitX to look like an Arnold. And I thought, I'm just going to wait until he says Australia, and then I'll make sure that when he goes to the right people to ask who should I contact in Australia, he only hears one name. So, a true story. So I waited. So after he did Spain, he said, the next continent we're going to conquer is South America, and I'm going to pick Brazil. So he did Rio de Janeiro, and it was I think it's the first or second year he did Rio, and someone sent me like a YouTube clip and said, oh my God, you got to see this. And he goes, all right, we've done South America, the next continent's Australia. I'm going, right, and I'll wait for the phone.
My moment.
I'm waiting for the phone to ring, because I've built this thing that he's going to love, and it's right, I knew exactly what he wanted. I still don't know him. I met him once when I was a kid, so I'm just like he was my idol, so I knew everything about Arnold. And I knew when he finished being governor, he wanted to spread here, and then he wanted to do South Africa after that, and then Asia. So, all right, I'll just put myself in a winning position. So then he'd been out here on a speaking tour, and the guy that put it together, and his publicist was Max Markson, who was also my publicist. So I told Max my plan. And then through pro bodybuilding, Jim Mannion's the guy, and he still is, that runs all the pro bodybuilding. So I made sure that, he said, if Arnold speaks to me about it, he goes, I'll just tell him I won't sanction a bodybuilding show unless you're running it. Right, so Arnold starts calling around. His people do anyway. And then my name kept coming up. So he reached out to me through someone else. Now, when people in Sydney and other people who thought it was their privilege and right to get it, they actually, I found out later, went and contacted Arnold. And I'd had some pretty heavy media, through just stuff that I've been through. I've been around shootings and there's bikers down the road next door and so on. So the Herald Sun actually did this horrible article, Join the Dots with Tony's Life, Mr. Big and all this stuff. So these pricks sent it to Arnold and said, you want to be in business with a criminal or with a guy with a reputation like this? He's like this heavy guy in Melbourne. I'm like, great. But I didn't know at the time this had happened. But Arnold's so smart. So he said, well, let's check him out. So he would have got his private investigation team. One, to see I didn't have a criminal record. Two, most of it was just join the dot shit, which he'd also had with his life. So he reached out and said, look, let's get the guy to the Olympia in Vegas, have a meeting with him, see if he's interested in turning this FedEx into an Arnold Classic. So I met with his team. I kind of got ambushed. One of them thought it was a meeting about bodybuilding, and they took me to this room at the Wynn Hotel, I remember, and sat me down. They're like, would you be interested in doing the Arnold Classic in Australia? I thought it might be this. And they told me the deal and the percentages and all this. So I'm trying not to react. I'm trying to be cool.
Try to be cool.
I said, this FedEx is something that's my baby. I've built. I don't know, want to. Maybe we'll do the Arnold set, but I don't know if I want to roll that in. I said, I'm going to need to think about this. Trying to contain myself.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then Bob Lorimer, who was Jim Lorimer's son, Jim was the founder, who passed away a couple of years ago at 96, but he started the Arnold. I just turned 60. Jim started the Arnold Sports Festival when he was 60 years old, right? And it went for 36 years, it's still going, but 40 years ago he started. Anyway, so Bob Lorimer said, well, the next step is I've got to come and inspect the facilities in Melbourne and see if that's fit for an Arnold Sports Festival. So he did. He loved it. And then they invited me to Columbus to meet the governor. So I went over there and they had a table for each country and they were all bidding for it. In these countries like China and Africa had delegations of 10 people, these tables, all these, place settings and all this. And I walked in and there's a table that says Australia with 10 settings and a little Australia note. And I'm there on my own. I'm like, shit. I did buy a new suit, but I'm like, I had to make a speech and all these people got up and talked about government funding and sponsorship and marketing teams and all this shit. I didn't have any fucking notes. I didn't even know. But I'm good with that notes. I'll wing it. I'll be right. So I got up and I just said, look, I'll just tell you, Arnold, and everyone in the room, I love all your speech and everything else. I said, but we've got the best facilities in Melbourne. I said, I've got a current expo, which is just a bit smaller, but it's the same model that we do. We've already got an established pro bodybuilding show. And I said, I can outwork everyone. I said, Arnold, it's March 2014. I said, we're going to do 2015 in March. So it's 364 days. It's 364, 366, whatever it was, days until I'm going to bring you into Australia to open the event. And I said, I'm not going to have a day off. I can promise that. Weekends, nighttime, daytime, I'm going to work. I said, and I'm going to blow your mind. It's going to be the best expo outside of America you've ever had. I give you my word. I said, I'm just going to work, man. I don't have government funding. I don't have this, but I've got this. And Arnold stood up and clapped. And everyone, I got a standing ovation. And he said, come and sit with me. He goes, we're going to be fine. And out of all the partners, because one's with Spanish, the people in Brazil just still learning English. Yep. Columbus, he kind of always been there. So he didn't have this edgy partner until me. I'm like, fuck, it'd be cool to smoke a cigar with Arnold one day. So, look, to cut a long story short, I've smoked cigars in every continent. I've been... I remember one time he called, he goes, we're looking at Asia, he goes, maybe in Shanghai on Thursday. I'm like, okay, I'll be there. And I never said no. So I just get up and go. I remember once he wanted a meeting about something, and he goes, you need to come to Los Angeles. So I flew in, had a meeting, flew home. Just whatever it takes. And he saw this in me.
Yeah.
And then I helped fix all of his security because of this giant bubble around him. In the first year, I started travelling with him. We had a situation in Rio where all these people got into a room they shouldn't have been in. He couldn't come in. Someone's got to clear the room. So I went back to my bouncing days and crowd management. I fixed it in 5 minutes. He goes, right, from now on, you're in the bubble with me. So I got to be in the bubble in every continent from 2014 to 2020.
Yeah.
Ended up emceeing the Columbus show twice before the pandemic once again.
So
and then, long story short, it was a dream come true. I'd pinch myself. I'd be sitting in Shanghai, Rio de Janeiro, but we had the best restaurants. And some of the places really did have big government funding. We were in Madrid once, and the governor, whatever, come and gave him the keys to the city, and politicians, and different world. I met IOC members. I met every movie star who was making movies with, Jason Statham to everyone. Then I got to go to his house. We became great friends. I went to his office a number of times. I've been riding in his tank. All this stuff that you couldn't believe. And always me and him having a cigar, just laughing,
Well, I always remember you used to present, and one of the things that you'd say at the presentations is, arguably, and then you'd say it's not even arguable, that he's the most recognisable face on the planet.
No doubt.
And I keep referencing back to that, but there is nobody who is more recognised, more famous.
I remember once we were in Shanghai and we're just going to inspect facilities. I thought, I don't know if they'll even know who he is. When we got out of this limo, and there was like fucking 10,000 people there worshipping. It was the greatest moment of their life. And this happened everywhere we went. We just throngs and crowds of people, And the good thing is, he took me under his wing. And that's why I was so good with the media during the lockdowns, because I got my media training from him. He taught me how to handle his press conferences and how to speak and cadence of speech and how to slow down a little bit if it was international, because Australians talk fast and all this sort of stuff. And he really... I'll be forever grateful for, one, he took a shot on me.
Yeah.
He gave me my shot and I delivered. I delivered the best. Our expo was the best in the world.
That was
out of all the Arnolds. Like, when we go to Spain, there'd still be boxes in the aisles when they open the doors. Not on my fucking watch, I mind my business, but when you come to Australia, we had the best convention centre, we had the best facilities, the best venue for the pro shows. And it was the best 7 years of my life, man. It was amazing. But, always an optimist, So, a quick story. I went to the Arnold Classic in Columbus in 2020. The world was starting to go funky. So they closed the expo down the day they opened it and said, well, we're going to do all the events, but the only one who'll have a crowd will be the bodybuilding show. So it was my second time emceeing. So I emceed, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Columbus, Ohio, 5,000 people. Work-wise, it was probably the highlight of my life, because I always wanted to do that. For 20 years, I waited for my shot. Just never gave up.
Yeah.
And it's for people watching and listening, you've got to be patient. Like, don't just give up on something that doesn't happen in your timeline. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Fuck your 5-year plan. It took me 20 years to get to this, but it happened. Anyway, so we're flying back and, everything's starting to shut down. Now I'm like, shit, we're on next week. Will we get away with it? And so it was, sometimes we'll be on the same weekend as the Grand Prix. This time it was the Arnold Columbus, Ohio, the Melbourne Formula One Grand Prix, then the next weekend the Arnold. And they let everyone into the Grand Prix on the Friday. We're going to be fine. Yeah, if that goes ahead, we'll go ahead. Even in limited crowds, we'll be fine. 20 minutes later, they walked them all out. I'm like, oh, shit. Yeah. So we're doing qualifying events, amateur bodybuilding shows, and I'm trying to get an answer. I remember in Sydney on the Sunday. Now, we're going to start, when you're involved, we start building the expo on the Wednesday morning. So Sunday afternoon, 4:20, I'll never forget, my mobile rings, and I'm on stage with a microphone. And I'd said to my partner there, Mark, I said, listen, my phone rings, I pass you the microphone, it's a call I have to take. So it's Peter King, Melbourne Convention Exhibition. So shit, so I grabbed my phone. Yep. He goes, midnight tonight, we're padlocking the doors, it's over. And that phone call, I lost 870 grand because we'd had 8 staff on for the whole year. We're 4 days out from our event. I did all the advertising on Triple M and Fox FM. I did the billboards on the freeways and street posters, and so on and so on. So yeah. We bought the medals, the trophies. We bought all the printing. Our stages were all printed on boards. There was 5 different stages. The strongman implements we'd had made. Built this tower. Strength that never been used. It was this crazy setup. It was to be the best thing in the world I'd ever seen. It was $26,000 I'd spent in steel just on that. Anyway, long story short, add it all up, and that's not so you get your money back for the venue. We did. We got our money back. It was force majeure, which means force of nature shut the event down. The convention center gave us the money back. But I'd paid all of my staff. We had a sales team and media team, and I'd paid for the advertising. You can't get any of that back. So I remember that weekend, I'm like, what the fuck just happened? And it was the end of the Arnold Sports Festival in Australia. And we goes, we're going to do it after the pandemic. We go, well, we said we'd transfer it all to the next year. A lot of the sponsors left their money in, and some of the people said, don't worry about our tickets. They're really good to me. But I had to liquidate it after the second year because we lost another 500 grand, which I didn't have.
Still locked down then.
Well, we're locked down again and again and again. And then the gyms got locked down for the longest of anyone in history in the world, Melbourne.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Melbourne shops got 255 days. We got 365 days. Gyms were locked down because we got that extra bit. So I'm like, well, what can I do? And that's where I was able to reinvent myself and be the spokesperson for the industry in the media. And I was on, 3AW or Sky News just about daily, fighting the government and trying to talk to the importance of exercise for people's mental health. And you always think people should go to the gym to flex their muscles. It's a safe place for people to go to get rid of their demons. And you'll tell them to walk around the park, And it was a really crazy time. So, I lost a lot, but I gained a lot. I learned a lot about my values, and also about just going back to that guy that slept on the floor and go, well, I'm still happy. I'm going to be happy now. So I come in, I can proudly say I came in here every single day. Got up at 6 o'clock every single day, come in and worked.
Well, it grew a different area of the business that was always there, but you've now kind of really made it a strong part of the business, and you're taking a drink from it now.
Oh, that's actually Powerade. I just wanted to ice in it.
So talk to us about how that kind of got reinvented.
Well, that was the fifth lockdown, and we weren't getting rent assistance or staff assistance anymore. I'm like, fuck, bro. I sold a couple of motorbikes. I'm just like, what am I going to do? So there's a coffee shop up the road where they sold cappuccinos and lattes out of the window of this house. I'm like, I'll do that. So I got a glass guy in, cut a hole in the window. And I did 64 or 66 days straight, 12 hours a day or 10 hours a day, whatever it was. Get here in the morning, open it up, and sling coffees out of the window and shakes, protein shakes, which during that time I developed all of our recipes and everything else, bought blenders, nice machines. And what happened was a funny thing, because I'd always have a sign out the front saying, if you cannot afford a coffee, and I still do it, and we did when we had the shop and everything, ask for Doherty special. So you haven't got to come up and go, oh, I'm poor, I'm broke, I'm homeless, I can't afford a coffee. Doherty special means you don't pay. No questions asked. And people saw that, and I did a lot of stuff. I did like a daily quote on Instagram every day and try to help people through this thing. So I did like quote of the day, and I just come up with some. I've still got them all downstairs.
Yep.
Make a book out of them. But so we did that, and people loved that sort of kindness. They go, shit, look at this guy. He's lost everything, and he's still giving out coffee. So then people come and go, how many of those shirts have you got? How many colours in that shirt? I go, 5. I go, give me all of them. People come and buy merch out of the window, and they'd buy shakes, and they'd say, look, here's an extra 100 towards the cause. Shit, this is pretty good. So that 60-something days saved the business. Like I was able to pay the rent and, keep a couple of stuff and just get through, I think we did like 45 grand or something in shakes and coffees in 60-something days. I'm like,
kept you afloat.
Kept me afloat. We went that close to the edge again. And I'm like, yeah. But then what came of it was we put protein bars in all of our gyms. And now it's one of our, best things that we do. And the staff are already here working. So
yeah,
it was like one open 24 hours. I went, well, instead of getting cleaners, let's get the staff to vacuum and do the toilets at night when it's quiet. Still do.
So Tony, again, I mean, there's so many things that we haven't covered, and we just can't cover everything.
Every podcast I go on, Glenn, it's a problem because I talk too much.
No, it's great.
We run out of time, but it's been an amazing ride, Yeah. I feel like sometimes we're just getting started.
Well, and maybe you still are, but a couple of the other things I just wanted to really touch on, and I think things that people can take away. Doherty's is world famous for a reason, and it's part of that brand that you built. But bring it back to the relevance of the bodybuilding part of it. You've had guests that you don't often talk about, but famous golfers, famous boxers, famous people who come and ask for private sessions because you'll look after their privacy. So I'm not going to mention names. You can if you like.
Yeah, we don't shut the gym for anyone. When I say privacy, I told you a story. We had Tiger Woods train with us after all his troubles and things.
Yep.
And he's mentioned, can we shut off the gym? I was like, fuck no. I said, but I'll put an extra person on. He'll stand 5 metres from him, and no one will go near him with a camera, I promise. Remember, after 2 weeks he goes, I've never, ever been to a gym where I wasn't hassled. But they didn't know where he was training. He was staying at Crown, and we let him come in through the back door. So his limo would come from Crown down the back thing, and the helicopters couldn't get over, and they're looking everywhere for him. And he said, I'll be there at 5 a.m. Dude, he was there at 5 a.m. every single morning, And then the WWE wrestlers wear their gym in Melbourne. I've had Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan, everyone. Apart from every famous bodybuilder in the world, a lot of famous boxers and, movie stars and celebrities and all types. But they all get the same treatment. I go, man, we're all the same. Leave your hat at the door, we don't care who you are. But no one will invade your privacy or take an inappropriate selfie. And I just always say to the members, if you want to shop with whoever, especially when the wrestlers are here, because they camp out the front. I'm like, when they leave and they come out onto the street, and they're normally pretty cool. That's when you ask them for a picture. You go up to them when they're training, you're done. So, yeah, and then we've got a great reputation. So, Triple H, for example, who runs the WWE now, his kids still wear their Doherty shirts. His wife, Stephanie, told me at the last Arnold. And, I always give them a lot of merch and get pictures of famous people wearing our T-shirts. So the T-shirts become world famous, and our merch sells all over the world. Now, I don't know how many times I've been at an Arnold Classic in Brazil or Spain or FIBO Expo in Germany, and someone run up and have a Doherty's gym shirt on. Oh, can I have your photo? And this is wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that power of building a brand is something that you grasped at an early concept, but probably didn't realise how big it would go.
Yeah, I did. Honestly, I did. Yeah. I always knew it. I never. Everyone else doubted it. I've always had a vision. I'm not going to tell you things are going to happen down the track, and you're nuts. So, okay.
Yeah.
So I've got a lot of things I'm working on right now, and all of this stuff that's happened. So of course I'm going to believe if I have a crazy idea. My staff love it. They go, "What's this maniac going to do next?" I come in, they're sitting there waiting for, what's he think? Because I need a project. I'm fucked with that one. I don't stop.
Yeah.
Like before this today, I've been here for like 5 hours, drilling, fixing. I've reupholstered something, cleaned the toilets. I put a gate on my new office. I can't sit still.
Which is fantastic. So, but we probably are running out of time. But just a couple of quick ones to finish it off. You're in another chapter of your life now.
Yep.
Any world exclusives for the podcast of what's next?
I'm writing a book at the moment. It's taken me forever, and I've always wanted to do it, and I just couldn't get started. And a friend of mine invited me to a book launch. He's actually written a bestseller. I said, how? And he just said, just write. Don't worry about the order, because I don't know about the order of things. The editors do it. Just tell your story, good storyteller. So I just put on like a, what's it called, dictate program. And I just talk to a computer and it records it, and I go in and just fix the spelling and as my grandmother would like, and make sure it's correct English. And
I imagine it's pretty cleansing in some ways too to
it's kind of brings back, like, because I'm always telling stories, it's kind of easy, but it's also hard to because I just find it hard to sit still. So I've got to find a time of day where I go, okay, 1 hour, just do that.
Yep.
So I'm working on that. It might take a year or two, but no, that's something I can tell you.
Brilliant. Well, I hope I'll get an autographed copy of that one.
Yeah, absolutely you will. But I'll invite you to the book launch because it's going to be major. And everything I do is an event. The bodybuilding shows are the biggest and best we've ever seen. I've just booked new venues for them. For next year, we're going to a whole new level of pure bodybuilding entertainment and stuff I've learnt from, being the interviewer backstage at the Olympia, which to this day I still do, 14 years straight, I think.
I think we last messaged and you were over at the Olympia, and I couldn't believe I'd
forgotten.
Man,
I've got hundreds of all access passes from all the things. So I've become the #1 interviewer in bodybuilding in the world. Work for NPC News Online, and it's been really cool. So someone wins the Olympia, they've got to come and do an interview with me first. So that's been super cool, and that's also helped to build the brand. But what else am I working on? I'm starting a podcast, actually. I showed you before, a whole new setup for it. I'm just waiting to finish one more element, but we've bought all the bits. And I've got some super famous people outside of bodybuilding that are going to come on that, from, AFL coaches to, guys who've been in Delta Force missions in war-torn countries to elite athletes. And it's going to be all about the mindset of a champion. So the ones that do my own will be called Relentless Momentum, and then awesome. The ones with others will be like tapping into their mind and go, geez, yeah, but hang on, not everyone does that, Yep. And, once again, with Arnold, travelling with him and being exposed to people of that calibre, it's made me realise they're just people too. They just believed themselves and took their shot and worked out the psychology of putting themselves in a position to win. Yep. And that's probably the one thing life's taught me. It's just, everything that's come off, like 24-hour gym, everyone tried to talk me out of it. An expo, everyone tried to talk me out of it. The Arnold thing, we said, he's not going to fucking ring you. Why would he want to be in business with you? We became great friends. My idol became a business partner. I'm like, I don't know how many times I've been sitting somewhere obscure in a restaurant or a boat or a plane or he took me on a private safari maybe 5 times in South Africa. It was just me, him, and a bunch of lions. It was fucking how cool, and just stuff like that. And I think, well, if you didn't believe it, it never would have happened.
Yeah.
So that's the message. Just got it. Might not happen, but just I think that the most important thing is to have fun with the process. It's like bodybuilding. I said, don't worry about being on stage. If you don't enjoy working out, enjoy the pain of dieting and the pain of sacrifice. If you don't enjoy that, there's no pot of honey at the end. You've got to enjoy everything. And when I do my talks and stuff, I'm going to say, look, a lot of wealthy people are in therapy because when I have this house, when I have this much money in the bank, when I have this girl, when I have this gold bullion, I'll be happy, which means I will be happy. Instead of saying, you know what, if I enjoy punching on all the way to get there every single day, well, that's a fucking bonus. So this is how I live. I just always just think, I'm going to enjoy every single day because you know what's around the corner. And also, if you're happy along the way, you're going to be happy when you get there. But to me, I'll never get there. I'm always happy but never satisfied. Right. I never want to retire. I don't have any plan to get out of doing what I do because I fucking love it.
I'm not sure if there's anything else to end that other than...
Any questions, Sam? You've done a good job over there on the camera.
Absolutely. Done a great job.
Thanks, man.
Matt, from my side, thank you.
Cheers,
fulfilled one of my life
You're a good
dreams.
Man. No, you've always been a good guy, Glenn. You've always checked in on me, even through the hard times. You always say, hey, you holding up? I appreciate it. Thank you. And I hope this can just help someone to get through their day, but then two, just to give themselves a boot up the arse and go, you know what, life's short. Fucking go for it. This is it. What are you going to do?
There's something that's not in the mental health books that probably should be. So,
yeah, fuck yeah. Stop complaining, get busy. One of the things I saw the
Stop
other day was half the people with, a lot of these mental health things and depression and anxiety and all this, sit around and talk about their problems and think about their problems. Go work out, walk around the block, do a task, start a project. You never got time to fucking, people go, how do you cope? I go, I'm exhausted. I haven't time to think about how I fucking feel and so, how do you feel about this? And when you reflect, get fucked. Honestly, just get busy. It's as simple as that. And if you just pack as much as you can into every day, I always just think everyone's going to die. Right, we'll finish on it. Everyone's going to die, but not everyone lives. Right? And I've never had a healthy fear of anything. I don't fear heights or fucking animals. I just don't have that gene. The only thing I've ever feared is regret. And knowing that one day when you're on your deathbed and you look back and go, Jesus, I could have tried harder, I could have fucking believed in myself, I could have fucking had a crack and I just didn't have the balls or the heart or the motivation to do it. Well, fuck that. That's my biggest fear. So I'm going to be that person. When that day comes and I go, fucking wow, what a ride. I couldn't have thought this shit up. So do that and you have no regrets.